Public enemy number one. That's right. Public enemy number one. Step six on our way to our successfully scalable business is dealing with public enemy number one. You're going to learn what it is, why it's important you get it out of the way, and how to do it. Okay. So critical. So as a quick review, where have we gone so far? Just like climbing Kilimanjaro, we started over here with our mission, what we really want, what we really need. Our current reality, we did an assessment, no delusion, clear-eyed, looking at it honestly, financially, occupationally, educationally, resources, everything, okay? Then we created a plan. Remember the PERT chart. Start in the future, work your way back using these PERT notes, okay? Then we selected our team. We took the thing that seems to be the toughest for solopreneurs, actually turned out to be a little easier than you thought, okay? If you haven't done it, go to blairsinger.com, go to YouTube channel, and you'll see these other videos. Watch them again. Ask questions, get your comments. If you want to get to a scalable business quickly, keep watching these videos. Repeat the videos. If you want to go really quickly, go to blairsinger.com/plan and sit down with one of our guides, and we'll help you create a plan to get there and figure out what the best mix is for you, okay? So we selected our team. Next, we have to generate income. Sales equals income. And we're looking for steady, predictable, day after day, week after week, month after month, steady income to grow this scalable business. If we can't do that, we can't scale it, okay? It's the lifeblood of your business. So today, we're going to step 6. It is your number one liability, public enemy number one. Now, if you remember, your number one asset to building a scalable, big business, branded business is right here, is your team. That is your primary asset if you get it to function properly. But if you don't understand your number one liability, your team can blow up, go away, and you'll end up failing right about here. See, because what happens is when you try to climb Kilimanjaro, everything's good until it starts to get steep. Once it gets steep, then you got a problem. So what is step 6? Step 6 is this. Step 6 is resistance handled. Resistance. That's right. So as you climb Kilimanjaro, everything's good till the altitude gets a little thinner, till it gets a little harder, you get a little bit more fatigued, and then what comes up is resistance. Now, I call it your little voice. Same thing. If you're asking what little voice, it's the thing in your head that just said, what little voice? I don't have a little voice. That's the one I'm talking about, okay? So again, your ability to deal with this head on and expect it will be the key to your ascent, is the key to your success. Think about it. When we go to Kili, we talked about in the very beginning, pounds equals pain, right? The more you're carrying, the more baggage you're carrying, the more painful it is. And you got to learn to shed some of that. Not only physical baggage, but mental and emotional baggage that may be standing in your way. I'll give you some examples. When your little voice starts saying things, well, this is too hard. I'm not ready. What if this happens? What if that happens? Any fears, is it, when you start getting lightheaded, is it the altitude? Is it me? Am I going to make it? Is there something wrong with me? And what happens is the little voice will actually start to take over the conversation in your brain. Okay, so let's stop for a second. What is the little voice? Little voice is that thing in your head that says, well, little voice, that's the one. And where did it come from? Well, it's not really you. It's the sum total of your parents, your teachers, preachers, the media, old experiences, all those things that are stored in your subconscious mind that come roaring out into the forefront, and you don't even know it sometimes based on old conditioning. I was doing some coaching today on a live program with some amazing trainers, amazing folks. And a gentleman was worried about what might happen when he's in the front of the room and somebody challenges his credibility. Okay. And so I gave him all the tools. I tell everybody how to handle that in any situation, but he's still not convinced. He's still worried about it. I could tell his body language is all closed up. And I said, so where's this coming from? Well, I've had it for a long time, and I don't really want to look into it. If I look at my resistance, that's going to make it worse, isn't it? Well, depends. Long story short, as I talked to him, turns out that when he was a very, very little boy, his mother said something to him that made him feel like he wasn't worthwhile, that he wasn't wanted, wasn't needed. And he carried that thought unconsciously for most of his life. And now he's in his mid-30s, early 40s maybe. And so the decisions and the actions he's taking when it starts to get steep, when it starts to get difficult, or when he starts to get some negative feedback, as we always do, went back to the decision of a toddler. He didn't know that until we revealed it, and then he had a huge breakthrough. So I suspect that part of that fear is gone now. But not that you need to go through that's called brain surgery of sorts. It's not that you need to go through that, but to understand that what stands in the way of you getting whatever you want is between your right ear and your left ear. That's what we know. And if you're going to build a scalable business, you got to handle that on two levels. Yours, obviously, which I'll talk about in a second, and number two, your team. Because it's a double-edged sword. If the little voices on your team are freaking out, you've run out of money. Okay, the funding has gone its course. I work with an amazing group of salespeople in the solar industry. So they sell home solar, and when the pandemic hit, their sales of about $1 million a week or whatever it was went to zero. I mean, zero. Sale. And so the owner and his wife and a few of their leaders, what do? They changed things up and they started over again right in the middle of the pandemic. Guess what happened the first week? Nothing. Guess what happened the second week? Nothing. Guess what happened the third week? Nothing. So little voices going crazy now. Maybe this is not working. Maybe we need to fold up our tent and wait till the pandemic goes away. What do we do right now? And a lot of people quit. A lot of people said, this is not for me. But the owner, the entrepreneur, and his partners stood in the heat, and they kept going. They kept persisting. Fourth week, nothing. Fifth week, one sale. Second week, our sixth week, 5 sales. Okay, and so on and so forth. And now they've easily surpassed what they were doing, and they're on the road to doing $1 billion in sales. Okay, over the next couple of years. So, what is that? A lot of little voices bailed out. That's what I'm talking about. Resistance. When it starts to get steep on the mountain, is your team still going to be there? You must deal with it. So let's talk about, so now you know what it is. It's that chatter between your ears. It's not necessarily the real you. The real you is big and it's expansive. It's got great answers. But when the emotion goes up, fed by a little voice, thought like, I can't do this. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. Times are difficult. It's not possible. All that stuff. What my parents told me was true. All that stuff starts clouding in. Then your emotion goes high and you can't even think logically. So you can't even come up with a good solution to the challenges. Okay. Hello, Vietnam. How are you all doing? Obviously, it's early in the morning over there. Thank you for being here. Okay. So that's what it is. Now, why is it important to deal with? Because because it's the number one thing that's going to stop you. I always tell people that the number one thing that stops most people is your concern about what other people think. It's not so much making the mistake. It's what do your friends think? What does your team think? What do you think about yourself? Okay. That defeats some of the best dreams in the world. Now, this entrepreneur that I mentioned did really well. He was able to stay, and we had worked together prior. I said, just hold steady, go by your principles, follow your code of honor, stay on the mission. And sure enough, what happened is it started to attract other people. And I worked with 25 of their leaders over the weekend. Amazing results. A video for another time of how we got some amazing. They actually did more sales. They set more appointments in 90 minutes, 90 minutes. Than they do in an entire month. Okay. So it was, and they were blown away by how they did it. And I showed them how to do that. Okay. Which is the sales part we're talking about. But what happens when you need to sell and there's no sales, little voice comes up. When the money runs out, little voices come up. When your spouse is at home saying, why are you doing this? This isn't working. Well, go back and get a job. That's all little voice stuff. Okay. Hey, Alan. Hey, Alan. Good to see you again. Good to see you, my friend. Okay. So first of all, so how do you handle it? First of all, is to recognize, step one, recognize that you got a little voice. Everybody's got one. And it's not you. That's the first thing. Everybody's got it. You're never going to get rid of it. You can only master it, but you can't eradicate it. It was there. You formed it to protect yourself, okay, somehow or other, to keep you safe from harm, of whatever harm. So you got it. That's the first thing. And if you can do that, you're ahead of 90% of most people that think that little voice is the truth. It's really them. They don't have any choice in it. That's the deal. It's not, okay? That's why I wrote this book, Little Voice Mastery, How to Win the War Between Your Ears in 30 Seconds or Less and Have an Extraordinary Life, because it is the problem. Okay. So in business, what's a little voice look like? It looks like overwhelm. It looks like, oh my God, there's too many things. I can't get them all done. There's not enough hours in the day. Da, 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 da. Okay. All that means, that's just your little voice used to doing things on its own. The solution, I can tell you, the solution is make sure you got a team so you don't have to be doing everything by yourself or at all. Okay. But again, you go, but I can't, because if you want it done right, I got to do it myself, or I can't. If I can't do it, how am I going to bring somebody else in to do it? All that's little voice stuff. All of you know people that are not nearly as smart as you do, or as aware as you are, that are making more money than you are, because they have other little voices, but they don't have that one. Okay. Your impatience, it's not happening fast enough. I gave you an example of that. There's no answers to this. There's just no way. There's no way for me to get out of this predicament, whatever that is. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not experienced enough. I'm not old enough. If I could tell you that I have a guy that is one of my coaches right now, business coach. He's not even 30 years old yet. He's already built a business that he started from zero, built it to 50 million, sold it, and that company's now at 150 million. Okay, and he's helping other companies do it. So it's like, don't ever tell me you're not old enough. Don't ever tell me you're too old. Okay, and they'll tell you how old I am, and they'll prove to you that you're not too old. Hey, John Lee, thank you. Little Voice Mastery is great. It is the source, and I know that the amazing work you do with people over in the UK is amazing, by treating their bodies in a way that modern medicine can't do it. And a lot of it's by reprogramming the little voice to cure ailments from years gone by. What are some other ones? Rejection. Sales team is fear, call reluctance. They don't want to make calls. Why? They don't like the rejection. We can't, we have a supply chain issue. We can't get product on time. All kinds of excuses and other people's opinions. And so you want to give up and they want to turn away. So here's the thing. Like I said, Little Voice Mastery, being able to deal with the resistance as a step in the climb. You've got to be prepared for it. We go uphill, you got to be prepared for it, because it's going to hit. The first time you start to get lightheaded, you get a headache, you're at altitude. Oh my God, there it is. It's the altitude. Am I going to make it? Am I going to die? Am I going to have to turn around? All that little voice stuff seeps your energy, takes you down tone, and it becomes psychosomatic. If you know what that means that your ailment becomes a mental thing. It's not even a physical thing anymore. Okay? All right. So how do you handle this? First thing is you got to train. You got to get coached. There's a lot of ways to get it handled. Number one is that all of the training that you do in this climb, and we'll talk about training in another session and teaching, is that the critical piece is technical development in your business and personal development in your business. You must have both. Now, back in the 90s, you didn't have to do that. Now you have to do that. Now, since COVID, you especially have to do it. Little voices are rampant. As technology increases, as inflation increases, mental health is decreasing. A friend of mine that has a drug treatment facility says they got people waiting. They don't have enough employees to handle the workload of people coming in. The Wall Street Journal said over 100,000 people last year died because of suicide or drug overdoses and all these kinds of things. That's up over 27%. Our mental health is going down at the same time. So the people that you want on your teams, everybody's got worries going on. People resigning like crazy. They're worried about getting sick, all kinds of things. That's why personal development, learning how to calm the mind, learning how to deal with adversity. In the book, Little Voice Mastery, there's 21 techniques in the back of this book that you can use at any time to turn the conversation around in your brain. Why? Because like the gentleman I described to you earlier, who was afraid of taking a look at his own little voice and afraid of dealing with his fear of rejection and all that, if you don't deal with it, the problem continues to repeat itself. It continues to repeat. I call that an involuntary replication. So you don't even know what's going on. You don't even know you're shooting yourself in the foot. You don't even know. You're just acting as you've acted for years and years. I have a friend who was a dentist, and he quit being a dentist when he was about 40 years old. And I said, "Why, Jeff?" He goes, "Blair, I realized that the decision to become a dentist was made by a 12-year-old boy, which was him, because his dad was one, right? And I realized that's not what I wanted to do. And once he left dentistry and started to do what he wants to do, which is help people build business, became a multimillionaire. Okay, he didn't even know it was repeating itself until we had this discussion. Okay, so again, thank you, Jenny Hyatt. Little Voice Mastery helped me get back to the U.S. That's an interesting story. I want to hear about that. Jeff Fagan, always good to hear from you. Your content, Little Voice Mastery, is the biggest secret to success. Jeff Fagan, very, 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 very successful guy. Jeff Fagan. He's worked with some of the greatest teachers, leaders in the world himself, and he is one. So thank you, Jeff. It's great. Thank you for that testimonial. Okay. By the way, if you have any comments or questions, type them in here. I'll do my best to respond to them if I can. And again, if you really want to get into this and make sure that you have a good guide, a mentor to help you through this, just go to blairsinger.com/plan and sit down with one of our guides that's skilled in this stuff and we'll help you create a plan as to how you're going to get to the top of this mountain. Okay. So the business development, personal development required in an environment where technology and inflation are going up. And mental health is plummeting at an all-time high rate. Okay. So what are the solutions? What do you do here? Okay. Number one, I've held it up a couple of times, Little Voice Mastery book. Okay. This is my $500,000 book. Doesn't cost $500,000, but that's what I've easily spent on personal development programs, courses, coaching, training, audios, videos for me over the last 25 years. Why? Why do you think I spend so much money? Because I came to the realization many years ago that the problem was not out there. The problem was over here. Okay. That when I almost quit my first sales position because I got turned down so many times. And when I realized that the toughest sale of all was me selling me to me, was selling that little voice, I became a crazy person, went out and made 68 cold calls in one day, sold nothing, but made the important sale, which was me selling me to me. If you're going to climb this mountain, you got to sell you to you. When we're on Kili and the temperature drops, the altitude's thin, you're moving along at a snail's pace, and your little voice is going crazy, you got to sell you to you. There is no other way around. Whatever preparation you've done up to that point is history. Just like being an entrepreneur. Okay. All right. So first of all, pick up the book. It's cheap compared to failure. Okay. And learn some of the techniques. These are techniques that were taught to me by some of my masters, some of the ones I created for you guys. So do that. It's number one you can do. Number two, got to get coaching. You can't do this without a coach. No great athlete, no great actor, no professional operates at a peak level without a coach, because like I said, a lot of the little voice, a lot of the resistance is invisible. I'll say it again. The resistance is invisible. Okay. You don't even know it's shooting you in the foot because you've been operating that way and repeating that way for such a long time. You just think that's normal. Well, it is normal for you, but it doesn't have to be the normal for you. Okay. You just need to unwind whatever the wiring is in there. Okay. Training. Got to get good training. I've talked about training. Repetition. We work with salespeople, and it's amazing that their call reluctance is poor. They don't close very many deals. I just put them in a drill to practice objection handling. I don't even care if they get the right ones. We just again and 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 again for like 10 minutes to 20 minutes. That's it. Now get on the phone. And all of a sudden they're calling like crazy. In Vietnam, we did this with a group of 500 entrepreneurs in a room. And I told them to get on the phone. And I just went, now after all this, we drill, repeat, even though they're afraid of it. Repeat. Now get on the phone. You got 10 minutes to sell anything you can. They did 20 million US dollars in sales in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Okay. Now you're going, come on, Blair. These are they're selling their own products to people on the phone, typically their friends. Okay. But they did it, and they were blown away that they did that much sales as a group in those 10 minutes. So the distance between you and where you want to go is not that far. Repetition is a big thing. The other thing is your environment. Are you in an environment where your team feels safe, where they feel like they can voice their concerns or their upsets and their fears and all of that without getting hammered and made wrong and all that, and that there's somebody there that'll coach them a little bit? And I'm not saying pander to them. I'm saying push the heck out of them. But and one thing, remember we talked about before about self-concept. A person's results can never exceed your self-concept. So if you want to push your team, push them, but never at the cost of how they feel about themselves, or their self-esteem. You can push them as hard as you like, my friends, as long as they know and really get that you love them, that you really care. Not that you say it, but that they feel it, okay? And you can push them very hard. I got lots of stories for that, okay? So that's it. Read about it, study about it, the Little Voice Mastery, get good coaching, training, repetition, the right environment, and great mentorship. And like I said, if we can help you with that, go to blairsinger.com/plan. And if you want to do this quickly, and our guys who are trained in Little Voice Mastery techniques and all that will help you to start to steer a path to get you out of your own way. Because it's not just you, my friend. If you're building a scalable business, it's you and your team. So if their little voice is going crazy, their emotion goes up, their intelligence goes down. If you're not trained and your emotion goes up, your intelligence goes down. Now you have two idiots talking to each other. Not a good scenario. One thing that Robert Kiyosaki and I learned way back when we started into personal development about the same time is that the real enemy was here, not out there. Okay. So as you make this climb to your dreams, don't give up, persist. The one thing what's going to stop you is that little voice. There'll be days when you feel like a legend. You have a big win. Okay. What do you do when you get that win? Well, most people just celebrate the win. If they even do that, they'll celebrate the win, only to find about 24, 48 hours later, they feel like all the crap just hit the fan. What's happening to me? Why all of a sudden I was so lucky, now I'm unlucky? It's not luck. It's the way your brain works. It's how your little voice works. It's resistance. Think of resistance as a force in nature, that I think Ryan Holiday, a great author, talked about it in one of his books, is that it's a force in nature that's out there. It's designed, as my friend Mac Newton says, to keep you from doing your work. Okay, to keep you from doing your work. That's look. I'm not sure if that's true, but look at it that way, and resist it. Resist the resistance. If that makes sense. Okay. So remember, public enemy number one is the little voice. It's the one. All the best marketing plans in the world, the best products in the world, some of them never see the light of day, not because they're not good products, not because you don't work hard, not because you're a good person, not because you don't have a great plan here, but it's because your little voice got in the way. There's some people that snatch defeat right from the jaws of victory. They sabotage themselves. And if that's you, if you've ever done that more than once, you know what I'm talking about. That's your little voice. Now, there's ways to deal with it. Thank you, Justin. Thank you. I wish I could have a little voice one-on-one with you daily. Awesome content. Thank you, Blair. You're welcome, Justin. Thank you. And again, those of you that would like to have some more one-on-one support, again, go to blairsinger.com/plan, and we'll work with you. Again, if you want to accomplish these steps, go to YouTube, watch the video again. Facebook, watch these videos again. They're there for you to consume and repeat, subscribe, share them with your friends. But if you want to do this really quickly, go to blairsinger.com/plan, and we'll sit down. You'll sit down with a guide, and we'll help you plot a course to the future, to your dream. Okay. So that's step number 6. Step number 6 is resistance handled. Resistance handled. Okay. And you deserve it. And if there's if you can't think of a better time in the world to eliminate your resistance, to head it off at the pass, to put up your dukes and say, okay, you're not taking me down this time. Okay. Or whatever, however you want to look at it, now's the time. And we have plenty of ways to help support you do this. Don't let it stop you again. Don't let it cause you to hesitate and procrastinate again. I could go on and on and on about this topic. Obviously, it's my hot one. Okay. So again, any questions, go to blairsinger.com/plan. Watch our YouTube channel and share it with everybody else. Okay. So again, thank you guys. Good luck. We'll see you again next week with step number 7. Step number 7. You're going to love step number 7. Will virtually ensure scalability. If you can master 7, it will ensure, not help, ensure scalability. Okay. So looking forward to it. Thanks all you guys for tuning in. Thanks for your messages. If you have messages, continue to send them in, and they'll get them to me, and I'll answer them on future live calls. Okay. Be awesome and amazing. And here's a little voice technique. From now on, celebrate all your wins. Celebrate them actively. Be awesome.